Hello everyone and welcome to today's My Games Recruitment Show, the last of this year, which is where we're going to be talking about 10 proven tips to make your recruitment firm more profitable. And we are going to be covering delivery, the team, client care, sales and marketing. We are covering it all, aren't we, Mike?
We most certainly are. A good day, everyone. Hello and welcome to the show. As usual on this show, if you could just point out which Christmas jumper is the best.
So for those who are on the podcast, Mike has a rather cheery reindeer with Rudolph. I have a fire-breathing unicorn being ridden by Cat Santa with in space with pizza. So I think even those listening on the podcast can agree mine is clearly better.
Let's see what the comments say, shall we? Let's just see how it goes. Come on, Pete. You know where your bread's buttered on this
Cat
one.
Santa or Rudolph? That's the question we must ask ourselves.
Anyway, yes, it's going to be a good show, the last one. We are going to be moving at pace because we have 10 things to get through. Now, we did think about doing less of them and go into slightly more depth, but we couldn't go to the depth that would have meant anything. So what we've gone for is we're going to cover the ground. So some of these tips are really just do it. Oh yeah, I can just do that right now. Some of them are going to take a little bit more thought. And we are we not, Kirsty, prepared to go much deeper on these?
Yeah. So as we go through, if anybody thinks, the idea is we're giving you a lot and you focus on maybe one or two that you think that's my priority to implement. If as we go through, you want us to go deeper, maybe do a whole show on something, just put the number of the item that we're going through, the tip that we're going through in the chat, and then I will make sure that we cover anything that is. And
if we can't do a show on it, we might do a deep dive. Yeah. All of these are free. We don't charge for them, right? So we might do a deep dive, or we might get an expert in and do a roundtable, which I quite like, or even a webinar if it's a really popular event. So we'll do our best to go to the depth that we need to on any of the things that we cover today. So our objective is covering a lot of territory, but not necessarily to a lot of depth.
Yeah. Okay. So just before we move on, Mike, and start getting kicked on, Gavin has kindly said that he's going to go for the pizza. My shirt wins this year, and we'll move on swiftly. Thank you, Gavin. Yeah. Okay, Mike. So let's start off with this. Let's kick off with the first of the things that we're going to be working on, which is running a delivery dashboard and knowing how good you are. Can you just explain to our listeners and our viewers what that is?
Okay, so just to remind you, we're going to be covering some ground here. Kirsty's going to be on me as soon as I hit the end of my time, on to the next, right? Okay, so 2026 is going to be the year of delivery. It's what clients pay for. Let's cut through the crap. Did you know from 2022, the ONS said there were, I think, 1.3 million vacancies, 2022. 2025, they've reported 728,000. The number of vacancies is nearly halved. The number of recruitment companies has gone up. I think mainly because a lot of people have been fired and just set up their own business because they can't get a job. Fair enough, right? What we're saying here is there's a lot of choice. The people that they will use over and over again, the people that they will take from their company to the new company if they leave, the company that candidates will recommend to their friends and colleagues will be the ones who are really good at delivery. Now, the big problem here is people don't know how good they are. So I say to people, how good are you at delivery? And they're almost offended that I've asked that question. I'm a recruiter. There. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I know a lot of recruiters who are, to say the least, average at delivery. To be clear, we're talking about taking a vacancy. We're talking about searching the markets, finding people that nobody else can find. We're talking about properly qualifying them and presenting them to the client in a way that's convenient and easy and consistent. It's what people pay for. This is the year of delivery. Now, the best way that you can quantify how good you and your team are at delivery is use a delivery dashboard. Now, we have one on the portal. So if you're listening to this and you're a client, go to the dashboard, go to the portal and get it. And if you can't find it, email Kirsty and she'll send it to you, right? So there she is, yeah. So it's very important that you can say this month or this quarter, probably for smaller businesses, our delivery score is X. Last quarter, it was Y, and X is better than Y. And if you need to get better, the dashboard will tell you what you need to do. Not just you, but your staff. Now, I don't care if you're a solopreneur, right? Kirsty, you've got to give me the 1 minute mark.
I will. Okay. Don't worry, you're doing okay.
I don't care if you're a solopreneur. I think, oh, I don't need that. Yes, you do. Doesn't matter whether you're on your own or you've got a team. The point is, you have to be excellent at delivery now. This is the new world that we're moving into. And one of the things when we were researching this, one of the things I discovered talking to those companies that are doing really well, they're all really good at delivery. They nail it. I mean, I can't let it.
Just for people, just give them an example of what kind of things you're talking about on that dashboard.
Well, there's the return on investment ratio. How many pennies of profit you get for pound of salary? That's a really good measure of the overall efficiency of your business. And you can do it down to an individual level if you're able to work out the net profit for people, which is hard. But you can certainly do it against net fee income. You can do it that way. There's conversion ratios that are on there. There's a number of percentage of fees that turn into percentage of vacancies that turn into fees. I think there's 7 or 8. I can't remember now actually on the dashboard. But this is the sort of thing that you need to be able to prove how good you are, and are you going in the right direction or the wrong direction. Also great as well for training as well, if you want to train people, because you can pick out specific things to train them in and increase their scores. It's very important that you can do this.
Data. You cannot make bricks without clay.
Yes, give me. Yes, that's right. Give me data. You cannot make bricks without clay.
Okay. All right, Mike. Let's move on.
But
let's move on to the next one. Okay. So number 2 is EVP. Understand why your candidates should work for your clients. Can you just explain this one for me?
Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of candidates looking at the moment. We know that, but not all of them are great quality. And one thing's for sure, if they're in the market for a job, lots of agencies are going to be talking to them, and they're going to be talking to lots of agencies. But did you know, in any sector, for any job type, any role, there's about 60% of candidates who are what's called passive but open. So they're not looking for a job, not looking at the job boards, not looking at adverts, not responding to recruiters' emails or messages or voicemails, because they're not really that bothered. You have to work hard to get a conversation with them. But if you do, and if you present a great company and a great role, then they could be open to that. They're passive but open, right? Now, the interesting thing is for these people to attract them, it's not just about the role, it's about the company as well. We did a survey, and I think it was about 77 or 78% of people that we surveyed said that the company that they were being asked to join was as important or more important than the role that they were being asked to take. Now let that sink in for a minute. What that means is you've got to be able to talk in detail about that company. You've got to persuade them this is a great company to commit to. Oh, and by the way, this is the role. It's very important. And I would advise that you lead on the company and then bring into the role second, because if you get someone to buy into a company, A, they're more likely to get excited about the role, and B, they're less likely to be counter-offered, because you can counter-offer a role, but you can't counter-offer a company. So this concept of an EVP, the employee value proposition for the companies that you're dealing with, you really need to know that inside out. And the best way to do that, I think, is when you start dealing with a company for the first time, spend some time on an EVP. We've got a client that spends about an hour doing this. I mean, I think that's a lot, but whatever works for him. But spend some time understanding their EVP. Each of those 7 categories, which we know what they are, again, they're on the portal. You can see, you can understand what they are, and then present that back to the client as if you were selling the job to them. Can I just present back why I think people should come and work for you, and you tell me what you think? It's that important. You've only got to do it once per client. It's done then. So as long as you deal with that client and the EVP doesn't change significantly, you can reuse it over and over again. But it means you can lead on that, and you can tap into that 60% who probably aren't talking to other agencies, who, if you present the right job at the right company, is going to come forward for you. So I think having an EVP is really important.
Okay, perfect. All right, we do have quite a few shows of them on EVP on our YouTube channel as well, if you want to go and watch the archive shows. Okay, Mike, so now we're on to number 3, which is ask your clients what your USPs are. So can you just clarify what you mean by USP, and then also clarify what you mean by this point?
USP is unique selling points. I think it's an Americanism, I think. And it essentially means why people should trade with you. What's different enough about you that they should trade with you? Now, let me dig into this a little bit. First of all, I think in recruitment, it's possible to have a unique selling point, a feature benefit pair. So selling point in England, we would say feature benefit pair. This is a feature and this is the benefit, right? So a unique selling point is actually a feature benefit pair, which is unique, but it's never going to be unique. But what you can have is uncommon. You can have uncommon feature benefit pairs. And if you link 3 or 4 of those together into what's called a composite USP, means that it's made up of a series of these feature benefit pairs, which in their own right are uncommon, not very common at all. Put them together and the composite USP is unique. So, hey, look, deal with me because I'm this, that, and the other. Like a niche is a good feature benefit pair. There are all sorts of benefits with being the king or queen of a niche, and you bring those benefits to your clients. If you couple that with a couple of other things that you've got, if you want that combination, it's this guy.
Yeah. Right, so Mike, what if there are people listening to this saying, I don't think I could ask my client that, or I don't think my client would give me the time of day to answer that question?
Okay, well, if you think that, you've got a problem. No. Truth be told, it's not that difficult. We do it all the time with our clients, private clients. Both Pete and I have a session where we get them to reach out, sometimes by telephone, sometimes via email, depends on the client, depends on the circumstances, and just say, look, we've been trading for X amount of years or whatever. You could use anybody, but you use me. Why is that? Could you tell me why it is? And sometimes you need to dig a little bit because it's an open question and people aren't that good with open questions normally, but you can dig around a little bit, you can prod them. And I'll tell you 2 things. First of all, people will say things to you because they do have a reason. And sometimes the things that they say, you're going to know what they are and think, yep, that's how I hoped you'd say that. But sometimes they're going to say things you think, I did not see that one coming. I had to add an extra feature benefit pair to my composite USP because someone said it to me and I had no clue what it was. And I checked it out with other people and that's true. And it's a good one. Well, I think it's a good one. So I added it in there. I've got 5 now. I had 4 before. So the composite USP is the thing to get your head around. The only other quick thing on this as well, and I'll have to be quick, is that USPs, there's a thing called a backloaded USP, right? So a backloaded USP is something that you'd have to experience to know that it's true. And it's usually something that everybody says. So you might say, well, I always deliver what I promise. Well, because everyone says that, so that's not very common. It's not very unique, not very uncommon at all, is it really? So you would accompany, but there's a benefit to it because the clients know that most agencies don't do that. They say these things and they never deliver. If you do, then that's a big fillip. So what you would do is you would accompany that statement, that backloaded USP, with a series of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 even testimonials, all saying the same thing. The thing I like about working with Mike is if he says he's going to do something, he does it. Or I've been working with Mike and lots of people, lots of agencies say they're going to say something, but he actually does. He delivers, this kind of thing really. It reinforces that this backloaded USP is true. Then it gives it power. Okay. Got overboard on that, haven't I? A little bit.
All right. Yeah, it's all right. We're doing well. I saved you a minute elsewhere. Okay, so now on to number 4, which is, excuse me, run a VOTC program. Now, Mike, I can guess you can guess the question I'm going to ask you. Can you explain what we mean by VOTC program and why it's so important?
I don't think so.
Oh, we'll try harder.
Okay. VOTC, voice of the customer. We've done a couple of shows on this. Massively important. It's one of those things that people don't do. People don't take seriously. People discount it for all sorts of reasons. But I'd say pound for pound, it is the most profitable and productive thing you can do with your clients. Because basically what it is, it's encouraging people to criticize you. And I know that that's the reason that people don't like doing it, because nobody likes to be criticized. Come on now, no one does. When Pete does my VOTCs for me with my clients, I can't be in the room. I can't be there because I hate it, because I've listened to him do a few and he is actively cajoling people to criticize me. The smaller the criticism, the better he likes it, because then that's something we can fix normally quite quickly. And if you add, marginal gains, if you add a lot of these smaller changes together, suddenly you've got substantially better. But it's a concept where you are actively encouraging, rewarding, in fact, people to criticize you, because that's what you need. Now, you can bear that with, Kirsty, quickly tell us I was going to say the VW story, but that would give the game away on the name of the company, would it? Tell us the car story very quickly that you have.
Yeah, it wasn't actually VW, it was another German manufacturer. But they, when I went in to get my car sorted, I came out and they went, "Oh, can you just, we're going to send you a review sheet. Can you just tick excellent on all of them? Because if you don't, we basically get punished. So we just want you to tick excellent on everything, and we were good to go."
Now, I know why they do that. They do it so they can publish. We got 5-star ratings and everything. I get it. I get that.
But now I don't trust it.
Making themselves better, pointless. Absolutely pointless, right? So VOTC is a great way that you can do it. You can start off by doing surveys. They're not as good because you're only going to get about 5 to 10% return rate, people answering them, probably closer to the 5% than the 10%. But that's a good start. It sends the message out, we're interested in what you think of us. Yeah. And then really where it is telephone call, where you actively solicit from people, hey, you can be better. There's a structure to it. Again, go on the portal, check it out. There's a whole load of videos that explain how you do it. And I think Pete runs a course from time to time, doesn't he? Just to help people do that. If you're interested, you can reach out to Pete. But I honestly think it's the most important thing that I would do in 2026, because this is going to give you everything that you need to be excellent.
It's also going to make your client feel that you appreciate them, that their thoughts are valuable, that if other people are coming in promising them all left, right and center, all the golden bells and whistles, and they go, yeah, but this person actually listens to me and does improve and change things and do various things. So when next year, when that competition is only going to get tighter, fostering those stronger relationships with the clients where you think, no, I do listen to you. I am going to improve. I'm going to make my service better for you. That can only be a strong thing.
I think so. And also that it's not just about criticism. I hasten to add, there are 5 different sections in the VOTC call, and you can gather information. You can even find out what the competition are doing. You can come up with ideas to develop your business and make it better, innovations. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do. And you can understand your USPs. You can use that as the platform to find out your USPs. And you can get testimonials from it. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Big win.
Have we got 2 shows on VOTC?
We have. I think what I'm going to do is, for those of you watching who want to access to the shows, if you go to the YouTube channel, you will find, I will put in the comment section of this video all of the shows that we're referencing that we have available. So I'll do that for you.
But don't forget,
okay, we have to move on now.
If any of these points you'd like us to go deeper with a show of its own, or a deep dive workshop that we run from time to time, or a round table, whatever, you just tell us. And if there's enough interest, we'll do something with it. Okay,
Mike, number 5 now. So be seen, post on LinkedIn, and have a subscription option for your clients, the mere exposure effect.
Can I talk about the mere exposure effect to begin with?
I think that's probably best.
Okay. I see we've got some comments coming in. I expect they're all relating to my jumper.
Not your jumper.
Okay. Right, well, you can do the show on your own next week then.
I will. Carry on.
Okay, so right, mere exposure effect, you can Google it and you'll get a better explanation of it than I can give you here. But effectively, the more exposed you are to something or somebody, the more likely you are to engage with that thing or that person. That's what it means, really. That's how advertising works. People spend huge amounts of money to have a logo and a golfer's cap. So what? It's because when you see that logo somewhere else, it kind of connects subconsciously, and you're more likely to engage with whatever the logo is than if you haven't seen it, right? It's how advertising has worked for a gazillion years, right? So that's one of the reasons why you encourage you to post regularly on LinkedIn, to be seen. But what I would say is this concept of a newsletter or a subscription, right? Something that comes through once a month with some value in it, which isn't salesy, that you've researched and you think a proportion of my community would be interested in that thing. Now you can write what they call a smorgasbord newsletter, which is 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 items, the same items every month, a bit like a magazine. You get the same features in a magazine. Or you can write a feature, just do one thing, like a blog almost, right? You can do either of those, whichever works for you. But the point is, something comes through and they see your name. That's the point.
It's valuable.
The mere exposure effect, there's a tick in a box, right? The more they do that, the better it is. As an added benefit, you could not just use this for clients, you can also use this for prospects or anyone else in your community that you want to add value to. So I don't know whether you're aware, but we have a thing called From the Desk of My Games. It's a 5-minute video that goes out every Sunday, and I'm talking about on the video something that relates to being more productive or feeling better about your business or making more money or whatever it is. It's focused on you getting more from your business that you want, basically, right? And I used to be reserved just for clients. That's all. Clients had it and they could access it. I now open that up to everybody, and if you want that, I can send you the link. You can subscribe if you like what's down there, but that goes out every week. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that, but having a newsletter on LinkedIn that goes out once a month, come on, you can do that. Couple that with a couple of posts a week, you're good, you're done, you're sorted. That's all you need to do.
Okay. All right, Mike, we do have to move on. So number 6 is hire your staff by using triggers. What do you mean by triggers, Mike?
Okay, I'll give you some examples in a minute. But so if you think how most people hire in recruitment, it could be they've made the decision to go out and they go to the rec directs and try and get some CVs and hire in that way. And that's not bad. But in many cases, it's a reactive hire. They've seen somebody that they used to work with, or that's approached them, or someone's recommended them, or they're available, or something. Yeah, we'll get them in, and this, that, and the other. So it's a very reactive hire, really. This is not a good thing, by and large. For every one that works out, 10 don't. Right? So it's really not a good thing to do. So the first thing really is to define when it's okay to hire someone. Certain conditions that have to be true. Now, you can break those laws if you want to, but you're consciously doing it, which means that you're more conscious about what the decision is you're making. You're probably going to go to a greater depth to make sure this is the right hire, not just get them in and let's see how it goes, right? So triggers, for example, the obvious one. And by the way, I can't give you absolutes on this. When we do this with our clients, each one is separate and unique in so much as it depends on the type of work that you do. It depends on your average fee value. It depends on what kind of work, what kind of clients that you have. There's a whole bunch of different stuff, right? But I'm going to give you some generic ones, which is going to give you a feel. You can do a lot worse than just go on these. Number 1 is money in the bank. You have to have 3 months worth of their base salary or cost, generally, their desk cost in the bank, ready to spend on them, and happy if they don't make a bean in those first 3 months, because statistically they're probably not going to, right? But if I would say 6 months, right? Because you don't have to use 6 months on them, but it's there if you need it. It takes the pressure off a little bit, but you decide. But a certain amount of money in the bank, which you can write off if you need to. That's really important. Second one is active clients. Now, this is where it gets a bit particular to the type of business you are. But you need enough active clients so you could lose half of those clients and still have enough work to be going on with. That's essentially it. So you might say, well, each of our consultants has 3 active clients. Well, okay. So as soon as you reach that boundary, you can go to the next stage. You can hire someone and then win some more clients to feed them. But if it's too low, if you've barely got enough clients as it is, you lose 1 or 2 and then you've hired someone in. Not good, really. You don't want to be doing that. No. I'll give you the third one, the last one, really, and it's vacancies. How many vacancies could you work on if you had more people? In other words, how many do you turn down or have a cursory glance, see if you can kind of help them? Not really, no. Let's not work that or whatever. Obviously, this is only for contingent. If you're taking it on exclusive or retained, then it's a different story completely. But certainly, how many vacancies are going begging because you don't have the people there? If you just use those 3 triggers, that's going to give you a head start on when you should hire straight away, right? And I do think as well, if you're on your own, there is another consideration is, well, okay, I just want to get rid of some of the stuff I do so that I've got more time to do other things, if that makes any sense. So when you're very small, when you're a solopreneur, you might take a bit of a risk, go against the triggers just to give yourself a little bit of breathing space. But consider that an investment in the business as opposed to I'm hiring someone who's got to deliver straight away. Maybe that'll help.
Okay. All right, Mike, we do have to move on now. And it is, in fact, time for our sponsored message, which once again is us, because we don't like it when we've got sponsors for the show, because we like it to be.
Yeah. Put me up then, Kirst. Come on. Yeah. Right. I just want to reiterate this. We had a lot of response from last time, so much so that I want to share it with you again. We have this VIP event access circle. It's just basically a list of people that get access to our stuff before anybody else does, right? So it's free to start off with. There's no subscription. You can just be on it if you want to be on it. And of course, you can leave if you want to leave. It's not a big deal. This is what it gets you. We do deep dive workshops, which are very popular. We have one this Thursday. We have 2 in February, and the one is nearly full, and the other one we haven't even started selling yet, and it's got 3 people on it. There's only 8 people per deep dive workshop, and the topics we choose are driven by what people want, and we go deep on them, real deep. And you get a bunch of notes afterwards, and you get some slides afterwards, and you get a one-to-one with me to talk about. It's really great, really good stuff. We have special guest roundtables when we invite people in to talk about a particular topic, and again, that's small. So that's about 10 to 12 people. So it's not a lot of people, and with the amount of people that we know, they fill up quite quickly. Webinars, of course, we can have as many as people as we like on those, and in-person events. We'll run more in-person events in 2026, and of course, they're always limited to the place where you're going. I don't like to do big events. I like to do small, more intimate events. So you get early bird invitations. I'm telling you now, for some of those events, if you're not on the early bird, you won't be coming. Right? That's not me being all arsey. That is me telling you the way it is, right? And you also get exclusive circle member events only. So these are events that you can only come to if you're a member of the circle. If you'd like to be part of that community, all you need to do is email VIP to my good self, mike@flair.co.uk, or if you're connected on LinkedIn, you can just message me with VIP. That's just as easy. I don't mind. And I will add you to that circle, and you can be part of a different world, especially in 2026. I think we're going to need a lot more depth and detail about the things that we do for our clients in terms of content. And we are definitely up for that challenge. So come along, join us, be part of our circle, and let's kick some butt in 2026. There you go, Kirst. How about that?
Amazing. Succinct. I love it. It was absolutely charming. Okay, so let's leap back in then. Let's go to number 7, which is hire South African phone and filter research.
Yeah, this is real quick, right?
So can you define what you mean by phone and filter, Mike?
Yeah. Resourcing is made up of 2 different activities. The seek and match, just hitting LinkedIn or your register or your database, whatever you would call it, or the job boards, and looking for people that match with the vacancies that you've got, and maybe sending out a few pre-written passive emails or LinkedIn messages trying to connect with people. Phone and filter is where someone picks up the phone, which you kind of have to do really, and says, I've got this great vacancy, let me talk you through it, let me talk you through the company, or this, that, and the other. And what we're looking for is people who, on the face of it, their skills and experience match, and they sound like they're up for it. They're okay with the money, the location, yada, yada, yada. And then they would be passed on to the consultant to do the close. So they're going to build a short list and get it through the client. So that's how it works. So phone and filter is one of the biggest and hardest activities in this market, to actually get to talk to somebody. I saw some statistics that said in some cases it's 6 outreaches. So that could be email, WhatsApp, messages, calls, whatever, to get one conversation, and 6 conversations to get one candidate. Now, I don't know how true that is in your world, and whether those numbers hold or not, I don't know. But I'll tell you this, it's a lot of work, right? So you can do that in the UK. Those people are difficult to find, and they're expensive. In South Africa, they're like, I don't know, $2,000 a month or something, and there's lots of people there. Now, not everybody in South Africa is good. Okay, so I would suggest you be prepared to go through one or two of them before you find the one that you want. But when you find that one, they'll stay longer and deliver well for you for very little money at all. So phone and filter. My advice is, if you've got a vacancy, look for South Africa. By the way, in February, we have a whole webinar just on that. So keep an eye out for that, guys.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on to number 8, which is
Yeah. We're into sales and marketing, aren't we? Okay.
yes,
right.
we are. Ask for introductions to reach high value prospects.
Right. Now, this only works if A, you've got a really good reputation, people like you, and B, you've got a big network. Otherwise, not one for you really. But one of the deep dives we do is how to start conversations with high value prospects. Well protected, don't really want to speak to you. How do you start a conversation with them? And basically the answer, just so as you know, is a series of outreaches. Each one's different, each one's creative, each one's original, and at some point it will work, because that's how it goes. The first of those is this. Who do you know that knows them, that would be willing to do a little intro email for you? And in the actual deep dive, beforehand, we send an email with some text in, and we get them to cut and paste the text and send it to people on LinkedIn during the actual deep dive. And always we get at least one person that gets a result there and then on the show. We had one last time, and I had an email afterwards from one of the ladies on there who said she'd had a result from it and she'd been using it, and it's really getting some great results for her.
That's so good.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, bless her. It's a no-brainer. This is, if you know somebody who's set as a first connection to you and they're a first connection to somebody else, so you're a second connection, you just have to say, how well do you know them? Would you do a little intro? I'm not saying recommend me, just do a little intro. And if you make that intro regarding something to do with chunky content, something that you produce, which people find valuable, you're not even pitching for work. You're just saying, got this thing, would you like it? Or you can just go, I'd like to just explain what we do. Just go for it. It's up to you, really. The direct or indirect approach, totally up to you. But what I'm saying is that introduction, even if it doesn't work, the fact that somebody that they presumably like us and trust has tried to introduce you to them is going to matter. It's kind of like a little bit of a watered down mere exposure effect. It's going to register. And if you do another one and another one and another one, eventually your credibility level surpasses their resistance level. You get that call. So I would start with that. Introductions, ask for introductions. Don't be backwards in coming forward. Just ask, how well do you know them? Would you do an introduction?
We don't often have kind of silver bullets for stuff, but I think that's probably as close as you're going to get to it when it comes to new business. Personally. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 9. And number 9, Mike, is actually one of my favorites just because of how simple it is. So number 9 is comment on other people's posts on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn wants you to do this. Right. So you may see in your LinkedIn feed, it says your comment on so-and-so and so-and-so has had so many impressions. You've seen that in your feed because LinkedIn wants you to do more of it. And it wants you to realize that your comments on other people's posts can actually get more impressions than some of your posts, actually, weirdly. So here's the thing. You're going to post on LinkedIn because you want to share, but you want the mere exposure effect. You want people to know you exist, right? But you want to share some value. You want to add value to someone. You want to communicate some key messages about you. You want to stand out. You want to put yourself in a certain light. All of those things that you would do in a post. You take half an hour to write it, unless you're going to cheat and use AI, and then it comes out like toilet paper. Anyway, so you write it, you get it out there, and then when people comment on it, you comment on their comments so that LinkedIn boosts it, all the usual stuff, right? And that's great. Or what you can do is you can identify people who post to your community. So they could be competitors, they could just be other suppliers into your world. And these people seem to get quite a lot of attraction to their posts. In our world, in recruitment, there's loads. If you're connected to them, then that's fine. If you're not connected, you can just follow them, click the follow button. And what that gives you then is the option to click on the bell, top right-hand corner of their profile. When you click on the bell, you click on the option all. And then every single post they made, you'll be informed of, and you can pick and choose the ones that you then go in and comment on. It's a doddle. For like 30 seconds to write a comment on someone else's post can get you 2, 3, 4,000 impressions sometimes. Obviously sometimes less than that, but if you get the right post, and so you can, it's like a micro post is what I like to think of it as. You know, it's just a little bit of value that you're adding to that person. I would also urge you to show respect to the person that you're.
Yeah, I was going to say there are 2 rules, I think, for this. Number 1, please make sure that you've actually read the post before you comment on it. You know, some people skim it. Make sure you've read it. And number 2, make sure that you are respectful of other people, because it is still your reputation that's going on. But we've got a comment here, Mike, from Gavin, who said he stopped posting about 6 months ago, but he still comments. His amount of impressions.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Gavin, for that. Yeah, it's amazing, really. And I've just been turned on to this recently. I got a comment that got 8,000 impressions. You know, I rarely get 8,000 impressions on my posts. So I'm well up for that, right? Yeah. So think of it as a micro post.
I think it's a great way to start as well. If you feel like you're nervous about posting, or maybe you don't have the bandwidth to post, everybody can find 10 minutes to go and post on 1 or 2 people's posts. So it's very, very easy to do. Very easy to do. Okay, Mike, we're on to our final tip now, guys. And as a reminder, if any of these you want us to go deeper on, please do let us know in the comments. But number 10, our final one, is build and use a 2D pitch deck. Can you just explain what that is?
When COVID came, we started using screens to do pitches because you couldn't go and see people. So what happened then, this concept of a 2-dimensional pitching deck, 2D pitching deck, evolved in that when you had to turn up in person and do a pitch, if you're using PowerPoint, if it's a formal pitch, you kind of start on screen 1 and you click and it goes to screen 2 and you click and it goes to screen 3, right? That's how it worked. Now, though, like I've got here 2 screens. I've got that screen there with you on, and I've got that screen there with anything else on. Most people are in that space. So if I've got my 2D pitching deck on there, it's just a PowerPoint deck. It means, I can follow a framework. So as we're chatting, I can say, well, okay, let me just show you something now. Share, go into a screen. Talk about it, come back, get the next screen lined up. So I can go into it as and when I need to. If I'm doing a telephone pitch, I just use the deck as a framework. So they can't see it, but I'm going to get the right messages. The 4 C's, if I can remember them for communication: clear, concise, compelling, consistent, right? Everything you do has to be the 4 C's, really important. The best way to do that is really nail your pitch deck to it. It's got the 4 C's all over it for every single message that you need to communicate about what you do, why you do it, how you do it, who you do it with, why people use you, blah, blah, blah. All the standard key messages that you have, right? Again, if you're on the portal, you can download a template for this that you can just fill in. Dead simple. Right now, with this, the 2-dimensional piece comes in that you can have hyperlinks, a hidden hyperlink. So you put a box in, just a little box there somewhere on the screen. I usually use top corner or bottom corner. 100% transparency, so you can't see it. And then you put a hyperlink on it to take you somewhere else. So I might have a slide that says, we trade with, the top 10 recruitment companies in the United Kingdom. We don't, because we only go with small companies. But suppose I wanted to say that. And next to it is a little hyperlink. And I said, would you like to see what they are? And they say, no, it's okay. Okay, we press on to the next slide. They say, yeah, I wouldn't mind. So you click on the hyperlink and it takes me to another slide where there's the logos of all these companies. And then there's a hyperlink that takes me back to where we were before.
Essentially, so it allows you to create a bespoke pitch every single time, but with one document.
Now, there's one more thing about this. And I know we're on time to what we want to say, that the modern way of doing pitches is to make a statement, a claim, if you will, and then prove it. So in the old days, you'd do your pitch and at the end say, oh, I've got some testimonials or case studies. Do you want to see them or whatever? We don't do that now. We have a very specific claim. Like I was saying to you earlier, one of the reasons that people use me is I always deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. Then there's hyperlinks to 3 or 4 or 5 very short, like a sentence or 2-sentence testimonials on a screen with different people there, their photograph and their name and their company, so that people can say that claim that you've just made is true. So you can use testimonials or you can use data. So sometimes you can provide data, some research or statistics that show that what you just said is true. It doesn't matter. But basically what you're doing is building up layer by layer your credibility, and people begin to believe more and more as that pitch goes on, what you're saying is true. And all of this is enabled through a 2D pitching deck. Very, very cool. I know I would say that, but it is really cool. And we are the leading proponents of it. So there you go.
Yeah. I do think next year we will almost certainly be doing either a deep dive or a kind of workshop on that. So if you do want to play part of it,
that is perfect for a deep dive.
Yes, I imagine that is something we'll do. So if you do want it, don't forget you can just email VIP to mike@flair.co.uk. That's Flair.
Or DM me on LinkedIn if we're connected.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay, Mike. We have come to the end of this whistle stop tour. So in a second, I'm going to come for you for the top tip because you've given a lot, and I want to know what your kind of top tip out of everything that we've looked at is. But before then, I want to talk about the next show. Now, we are going to take a break now for Christmas. We take some time off, but we are coming back in January, I believe, on the 27th. And who do we have, Mike?
We have Ed Blogg. Some of you know him. He's Recruit Hub. He runs Recruit Hub, which is one of these founder support groups where you can be on your own, but you're not on your own because all your back office gets done. Anyway, so Ed he owns that. He's well in touch with what's happening in the marketplace. And he put a post out a couple of months back, maybe, I think now, talking about how he saw recruitment shaping up. And I 100% agree with what he'd said. And I've been talking about it as well. He just put a post out that was better. Anyway, so I'm inviting him on the show. I would urge you to come to this. I know it doesn't look very much. It's like, oh, AI, I'm not really. No. This is the way the world is going. You can see it. And when we've defined it and when you look, you will definitely see it. It's like if I say red van to you, you're going to see red vans for the rest of the day when you're on the road. This is like, oh yeah, and you've got to choose. There's no middle ground here. You're going to go that way or you're going to go that way. And we are going to suggest that you go that way and explain exactly what that means if you're a smaller business particularly. So it's about, yeah, you can use AI, but it's about AI being used to do the things that AI can't do very well. Things like build relationships, things like excellence and so on. So we are going to talk about that, and then we're going to explain the kind of things that we believe you should be doing, not just to survive the forthcoming revolution in recruitment, but actually bubble to the top. So I'm very excited about that one at the start of the year. So come along to that.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be a great show to start 2026 off. Okay, Mike. Now, we've gone through quite a lot. It's been whistle stop, as we kind of said it would be, guys. But everybody's watching this now. They're thinking, next year I want to hit the ground running. I want things to be different. I want to get stronger. I want to be exactly what I want this business to be. What is your top tip for those people?
Well, it's VOTC. You can start with surveys. Just mail. Was it something chimp?
MailChimp.
No, that's the email one, isn't it? Survey Monkey.
Survey Hero, Survey Monkey.
We use Survey Hero. I don't care what it is. You can put something together and you can start sending that to your candidates and to your clients after a piece of work to say, how do we do? At least it sends the right message out, is that we are dedicated to high levels of service and we're interested in what you're trying to say. And then you can gravitate up to calls. And what you'll get from that is amazing. On February the 10th, we've got someone coming on, another show not to miss. It's a TA for quite a big company, and she's coming to talk to us about how agencies should approach TAs if they want to work with them, right? But when I had the chat with her, the one-to-one teeing up this call, she said, I don't know why agencies don't really talk to their clients a lot more and ask deeper questions, because she said everything that they need to be outstanding, the clients already know. You just got to liberate it. Duh. So my thing would be start doing VOTC from January the 1st. There you go.
Okay, I think that's excellent. Okay, Mike, we are about to round up. So do you want to give a kind of final end of year message to our viewers and our listeners?
Yes, first of all, you're all traitors. I've looked at the comments. You're all traitors.
Everybody loves my jumper the most.
Anyway.
It's got a fire-breathing unicorn on, Mike.
Yeah, whatever. So, right. So I think here's my thing for 2026. I think that it's going to be a tough year. I think AIs aren't going away. I think the number of vacancies has halved, as we said earlier. in the last 3 years. I don't think that's going to improve significantly. The economy is sketchy. The government doesn't seem that bothered about doing anything about it. It just, the whole thing seems a bit lackluster. So we have to take control ourselves. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. It matters what we do. And we need to be a little bit better than them. Not massive amounts, just a little bit better. We are going to play our part in this. We are going to double down on the free deep dives that we do. We're going to double down on the round tables, on the webinars, on this show, on the newsletter, from the desk of Mike Ames, everything that we do. So even if you've got no budget at all, we're there for you. We're on your side. We're going to work with you to do this. So I think if you double down on the things that you can do and do them well, you will win in 2026. And please don't miss the show with Ed Block, because that's the start of it all. That is the beginning of it all. I wish we could have done it now, but we couldn't make the logistics work, unfortunately. But we'll be there in January. We'll be there for you. So I'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy, prosperous and healthy 2026.
I echo the same thing, and we're on this journey with you guys, and thank you for being so supportive of us this year. If you're not already, feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube, the podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify, or follow us on here on LinkedIn, follow our page. But we're with you next year. Thanks for being so supportive of us, and we'll see you in 2026.